What's up, Packer fans? Welcome back to Cheesehead Talk. It's your boy Tramel, coming back with another video. Day 3 recap of the Green Bay Packers 2019 NFL Draft. Now, headed on to day 3, the Green Bay Packers would have 4 picks on day number 3. We didn't have a 4th round pick because we traded with the Seahawks to pick up Darnell Savage. But we would have a 5th round pick, 2 6th round picks, and a 7th round pick. So let's discuss it. The first pick on day number 3 at pick 100, number 50 in the 5th round, the Green Bay Packers will go with a defensive end from Texas A&M, Kingsley Keke. Kingsley Keke, he's a pretty solid player. He's a run stopper. He's versatile. He can play defensive tackle. He can play defensive end. But he's not quite there yet as a full player yet. He hasn't reached his full potential yet. He still needs some coaching. And I think Mike Pettin and his defensive staff can turn him into a very solid player. But he does have great potential. And he also showed some good flashes at Texas A&M. He's a very good player. But he's not quite there yet. Let's look at some of his negatives. Now, he can lose leverage very easily. He can get knocked off of blocks very easily. And another thing that was said about him is once you double team him, it's lights out. He's done. He basically took him out to play if you double team him. That might be a little problem, but I think he has some potential. And another thing is consistency. Like I said, he showed some flashes, but he's not quite there yet. He hasn't reached his full potential just yet. But I like the pick, and I like what Gute's trying to do with this defense. He's trying to build up that defensive line. And if you look at it, you can never have too many defensive linemen. 2 years ago, Philadelphia had great depth at the defensive line. They still do. But 2 years ago, they won the Super Bowl. They had excellent defensive line play. And that's what it looks like Gute is trying to do right now, build this defensive line. And I'm liking it so far. Last year we couldn't get to a quarterback last year without blitzing. Defensive line wouldn't get to the quarterback. So I like how we picked up a lot of edge rushers and a lot of pass rushers. And also Kingsley Keke, he's gonna stop the run, something else we struggle with. So I like that a lot. We really struggled to stop the run. Teams were just running it straight down our throat. It was several games where teams just ran straight down the middle. And it was frustrating. But like I said, I like what we're doing with this defensive line. And we got a lot of depth to it now. But moving on to the next pick in the 6th round at pick 185, we will go with the cornerback from Toledo, Ka'dar Hollman. Ka'dar Hollman, he ran a 4.37 at the combine. He had a 39-inch vertical, and he only allowed a 40% completion percentage in 2018. Now, some negatives on him is he's not really a playmaker. He really doesn't force turnovers. He only had 2 career interceptions in his college career, so that might be a problem. But you never know what he could turn out to be. And also another negative on him is his age. I heard that he's 24 years old, which is pretty old for a rookie. That's very old for a rookie. But we'll see what he can do. Looks like he has some potential, and looks like he's a solid corner from what I saw on the film. So I'm excited to see what he'll do in training camp and in preseason. But moving on to the next pick at 194 in the 6th round, we would draft a running back from Notre Dame, Mr. Dexter Williams. Now, I saw Dexter Williams play a few games. He's a pretty good running back. He's pretty decent. He's got good patience. He's got good footwork, good vision, and he runs with a little physicality. You would expect him to run with more physicality due to his size, but he can run with physicality at times. And also, another great thing about him is he doesn't turn the ball over. He only had 1 fumble in his entire college career. 1 fumble. That's excellent. Now let's look at some of his negatives. He's not really fast. If you look at him on film, he does look kind of slow. He did have a lot of long touchdown runs, but he's not that fast. He only ran a 4.6. Then another thing about him is he can get taken down easily. Through first contact, he can get taken down through arm tackles. That's something that he has to work on. He has to get stronger with that. Like I said earlier, he runs with a little physicality, not as much as he should for his size. And another thing with him is he's not a receiving threat at all. I think he only had 29 catches for 133 yards in his entire college career. So he's not a threat at all when it comes to the receiving game. And also, I heard some things that he wasn't really a good route runner. He had some sloppy route running. So he's not really a threat when it comes to the receiving game. But I think he can be a solid running back for the Green Bay Packers. If something goes down with Jamal Williams, I think Will still be fine. Or if something were to happen to Aaron Jones, he could take that backup spot behind Jamal Williams. But I like Dexter Williams. He's a pretty good running back, and I think he'll be decent when he gets into the league. Moving on to the final pick, the 7th round at pick number 226. The Green Bay Packers will go with the linebacker from TCU, Ty Summers. Now, Ty Summers ran a 4.51. He's very fast. He's got a high motor. He plays with a high motor, a lot of energy. He's a hard-working guy. He's also versatile. He can play inside linebacker. You can throw him on outside linebacker. He can play defensive end. He's very versatile. He's an excellent tackler. If you look at his film, man, he tracks down players. He's excellent at tackling, and he rarely misses tackles. Also, he's great against the run. He's very good against the run. He just shoots through the middle and makes a lot of tackles and a lot of plays. And also, he's good at getting off of blocks. And he's a good blitzer. He's really good at blitzing. Now, if you look at some of his negatives, the biggest negative is his coverage. He's not a coverage guy at all. He doesn't cover well. He's basically known for blitzing. So we'll probably have him out there on the field for getting after the quarterback. Like I mentioned, he's versatile. He can play on outside linebacker or he can play defensive end as well. And more negatives on him are injuries. He had a torn labrum in 2014 and in 2015. And then he had a high ankle sprain in 2017 and in 2018. So injuries were a problem for him basically his whole college career. And when I did go to a TCU game last season, I got to see them play Oklahoma State. He didn't play in that game. He only played in 10 games this season. He only missed 3. And that was one of the games that he missed, the game that I actually went to where I could have saw him live. I didn't get a chance to see him play live this season. But he's a pretty solid guy. He can actually have an impact. This is probably my favorite pick out of the other 3 guys on day 3 of the draft. I really like Ty Summers a lot. He's a great player. Like I said, he's got a high motor. He plays with energy. He doesn't miss tackles. If I had to compare him to somebody, it would be Antonio Morrison, Green Bay Packers linebacker last season. He's no longer with us, but Antonio Morrison, he was pretty solid. He was a great tackler. He was a tackling machine pretty much, but he couldn't cover, just like Ty Summers. But Ty Summers is a lot faster, and he plays with a lot more energy. So I like this pick a lot. And day 3 was pretty successful as well. I like what the Green Bay Packers are doing. They're building this defense up a lot. Offense, they didn't draft a wide receiver this year in the draft. They believe in the young guys that they drafted last season. Equanimeous St. Brown, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, and J'Mon Moore. They have a lot of faith in those young guys. We have a new system, a new head coach, new offensive coordinator. So why not keep the same guys? Why Why draft another receiver when we haven't got to see the new offensive scheme yet? I think we'll be successful with this new offensive scheme with these young receivers. I think we'll be fine. A lot of people are upset we didn't pick a receiver, but we got to give this scheme one. We got to give it a year and see how it goes. I think we'll be fine. I think we'll be back to a top 10 offense. Honestly, I think we'll be fine. I like how we're building this defense up. And we could probably be a top 10 defense next season if everybody can stay healthy. We really had a solid defense last year. We were ranked number 12 all the way up until the last 3 weeks of the season. In those last 3 weeks of the season, we just fell apart, and we finished the season at number 18. But injuries played a factor in that as well. But I think we can be top 10 in both categories next season if everybody can stay healthy. I really love what we did in this draft. My day 3 grade would probably be a B. I'll give it another B. I really like this. I like this draft a lot. We filled in all the holes that we need. Cornerback was kind of a small need. We only have 4 corners on the roster before we drafted Kadar Holman. We only had Tony Brown, Josh Jackson, Jair Alexander, and one more. Oh, Kevin King. And like I said, Kevin King, he battles injuries a lot, so it's no telling how long he'll be on the field. Also, Jair Alexander battled some injuries last season. And then Josh Jackson, he still isn't proven yet. He hasn't proven himself yet. He really struggled last season. And then with Tony Brown, he still hasn't proven himself just yet. He hasn't played long enough to prove himself. But I like the Kadar Holman pickup because that gives us more depth at corner. It gives us another guy who can play a little bit. And then with Dexter Williams, I like the pickup as well because we needed a third running back, in my opinion. What if something happens to Aaron Jones or Jamal Williams? He can come in and he can help us out. And then with Ty Summers, my favorite pick, like I said, he has potential to be a very good football player. He's a playmaker. He makes tackles. That's why I love him. So I give the Packers a solid B for day number 3. Next video I'll do will cover the entire draft of all the draft picks that we picked up. So stay tuned for that. And leave a comment in the comment section and let me know what you guys think about day 3 and what grade you would give the Packers for day number 3. Also, leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Go Pack Go.